All right, so we have 12 squared, which means we're just going to do 12 times 12, which gives us 144. Then we have negative 2 in parentheses, so that means our whole base is negative 2. So we're going to multiply negative 2 6 times. One, two, three, four, 5. There we go, 6. Forgot my multiplication sign in there. So we have negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And we're going to, I just said positive, but I wrote negatives. They're all positive 4s. Then you're going to multiply those 3 together. So we have 4 times 4, which is 16, times 4, which equals 64. My handwriting today is rough. So positive 64. For number 5, we have negative 5 to the 4th power, which means that that negative is on the outside, and we're going to do 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5 is 25 times 25. And I just multiplied these two 5s and these two 5s. And then now we're going to bring down that negative in those parentheses. And 25 times 25 gives us 625. And it is going to be negative because that negative is on the outside. So we have negative 625. For the last one, we have negative 1/6 being multiplied 3 times. So remember, when we have multiplication with fractions, we just multiply straight across. So we have negative 1 times negative 1, which is positive 1, times negative 1, which is negative 1. And then we have 6 times 6, which is 36. And then 36 times 6 gives me 216. So if you notice, if the exponent is positive, you'll always get a positive answer unless your negative is on the outside. But if your negative is on the inside and it's a positive power, you get a positive number. If your negative is on the inside as your base, and then you multiply by or your exponent is odd, you get a negative number as your answer. All right, so using order of operations. So now we are going to use PEMDAS, which means that we finally get to use that E part in the PEMDAS, which is exponents. So this is saying we have 3 plus 2 times 3 to the 4th power. With something like this, we have to use PEMDAS, which means we use parentheses first, but there's not any. So now we go on to exponents, which we have right there. So we have to bring down what we haven't used yet. So 3 plus 2 times, and then 3 to the 4th power means we're going to multiply 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9 times 9, which is 81. So now we're going to multiply that by 81. On the calculator, you can actually use exponents, even on our calculators on our laptops. To show you, you just need to switch it to a scientific calculator, and you get a lot more functions that way. And then you do 3, and then there's this little X with the Y floating. So then we press that and it gives us this little carrot looking thing. And so that's saying 3 to the, and then we now just pick our power, and we wanted the 4th power. And you hit enter, and there's 81. So you can do it on a calculator as well, so you don't have to always do it by hand. Imagine having a rather large exponent. You don't want to have to sit there and multiply all of them out by hand. So now I've done my exponents, so now I'm going to do multiplication or division, in which I have multiplication right here. So now I'm going to do 81 times 2, and I get 168 plus 3. So I get 171. So you could just also hit plus 3. Oh, I wrote the wrong answer in there, didn't I? Sorry. It was 162 plus 3 is 165. I'm human. I make mistakes too. There we go. Glad I checked it with the calculator. All right, then B. We have 2 sets of exponents, so we're going to do those first before we do anything else. And you'll notice that the 8 isn't negative 8 in parentheses. It's just 8. So we're going to do 3 squared, or 3 cubed. So 3 with this little button that cubes it, cubed. We get 27. So this is now 27 minus 8 squared. I am struggling today. 8 squared, which is 64, because that's just 8 times 8, divided by 2. So now I'm going to divide. Now we can use that as a negative. So now it's negative 64 divided by 2. So negative 64 divided by 2, we get negative 32. So we have 27 minus 32. 27 minus 32 gives us negative 5. All right, now we have parentheses. So we have negative 10 squared, but that negative is not in its own set of parentheses. So we have negative, and then 10 times 10, which is 100, plus 70 times negative 3. And now I'm going to do what's inside the parentheses. So we have negative 10 plus 70 gives me negative 30 times negative 3. And negative 3 times negative 30 gives me positive 90. So now I want you to do the triads on your own. Go ahead and pause the video, and then you'll check your answers with mine.